Hey everyone, welcome to the grade level. So here we're going to have some kind of grade level, and it's going to be just a byte number. And we want to understand what basically school level you're at, right? So we're going to have elementary school, middle school, high school, and so on. And then any other grade level will print us invalid grade level. Okay. So I think for this one, I'm going to choose to also do a nested if statement, similar to the grade task, just as a way for practicing nested. So let's start with that one. So I'm going to make a byte for the grade. And the reason for the byte is also that, one, the grade level is usually going to be pretty small, and it's just a way to practice byte, even though normally we just use int. Okay. So I'm going to check, is it valid or not? I'm going to make a boolean. And I'll say is valid grade. How do I know that this is a valid grade? Well, according to my requirements, I'm going to be between 1 and 18. So let's just check that. Is my grade more than 0? And is my grade less than 19? Okay, so I just chose to do the less than and greater than 0 and 19, the ones that are not included. If you chose to do equals, like less than or more than equal to, like you could have done it that way as well. It would have just been grade is more than or equal to 1 and grade is less than or equal to 18. It doesn't really matter which way you do it, they both check the same thing. Okay, so once I know that it's a valid grade, let's check the if statement. Is valid grade. By the way, did you need to do a variable? We may not reuse this, so it doesn't have to be a variable. It just also helps with readability sometimes, but you could have just written this Boolean condition right in the parentheses as well. So if the grade is valid, we'll do something, and we'll do that one in a second. But first, let's handle this one when it's not valid. So if it's any other number, we're just going to print that this is an invalid grade level. And before I even print, we need to consider that I'm going to be outputting a lot of things. So let's make one string in the beginning right away that's going to hold my result. All right, so let's make a result here. And I guess we will just declare it as empty space for now. Although, again, you don't have to always declare this as empty space. Sometimes you're okay to just declare and not assign as empty space is what I mean. But anyway, for the result, we will go ahead and assign the grade level is invalid here in the else block. So again, that only happens when the grade was not between 0 and 19, or it was not 1 through 18. Now, though inside the inner if statement here that we need to think about, we should be careful how we do this, right? I believe most people here, probably 90% of people, when they solve this task for the first time, I think they're just going to follow in order, right? You're going to say, are you between 1 and 5? Are you between 6 and 8? Are you between 9 and 12, right? And that's correct. I mean, that's not going to give you an invalid result. That is going to give you what you wanted. But if we think about this in a little bit of a different way, I can actually come up with a structure here that is going to help me to write less code. If I do this in, let's say, greatest to smallest order, I don't have to actually do the whole range. What I mean is, instead of checking for are you between 17 and 18, if I do this in the order of biggest to smallest, I can just check if my number is more than 17. Because then the next Boolean would be, I don't have to do 13 between 13 and 16, which would require me to do an AND expression and have like multiple Booleans. Instead, I could just do, are you more than 13? Because of the order, the grad school level would have already been checked. So if you were not 17 to 18, then it would be in the second range here, in this one, if it was more than 13. So that's just one alternative that I'm going to do here. If you did it the other way, that's completely fine too. But if you did it that way, you're going to have a bunch of ands, right? You're going to have, are you more than 1 and less than 5, right? Are you more than 6 and less than 8? So I'm going to construct it in a way where I don't need to put a bunch of ands. I'm just going to do it kind of opposite order here and say if I am more than n equal to 17, that is going to give me the result of grad school. Then I don't have to check the and for that because I can immediately go to the next one. If the grade level is more than or equal to 13 in this case, I can immediately give my result as being college. Okay? Because again, if it's a number like 16, for example, right? The end of the college. If it's more than 16, my if statement will go one at a time and it'll say, is 16 more than 17? That's false, which means it'll go to the next one. And it'll say, is 16 more than or equal to 13? Well, yes, it is. So it'll be valid and college will be given as a result. And let's see, we have maybe 2 more else if to do. So we have 13, then we have 9. If you're between 13 and 9, that's going to be basically high school. So we'll give high school here. And then for this one, 6 is going to be our range here. So if you're more than or equal to 6, that means 6, 7, and 8, then we will be in middle school. Yep. Now, I didn't do another else if here on purpose because the last one between 1 and 5 is the only other possible numbers that we can have, right? Because we did this in an if statement where it checked the valid grade first, it can't be anything besides 1 and 5, right? This last else. So I'm actually going to do just else. I don't even need an else if here because if you are here in this else block, okay, these numbers can only be 1 through 5, right? Because I checked all of the other possible numbers. And because I'm in the nested if, I made sure that they are not anything else, right? So I made sure that these were valid. And so in the else, my result will be the elementary. Okay. So the only thing left for me to do here is to print the result at the end. So print out the result, and the result is going to be my final just string that I'm outputting here. Let's test this. So when the grade level is 4, I'm in elementary. When it's, let's say 16, 16 was in college because it's more than 13. I'll change it to 17. 17 will bring me back up to grad school, and then let's check something even bigger. Let's check like 20, and we'll see that 20 is invalid, and it would have never even checked anything else. It would have immediately just gotten you the wrong result here in the nested structure. Okay, so again, there is definitely other ways to do this. This is just one approach, one solution, and I wanted to show you it being done in a nested approach as well. See you on the next one.